all cell phones during the meeting. Meetings are televised every day on Channel 2 at 6 p.m. at midnight and available for viewing on YouTube. First up is semi-annual report from University of St. Mary. Sister Diane Steele, welcome.
Thank you. I like our new arrangement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. And I welcome and glad to see some new faces here as well. And this is graduation season for the University of St. Mary. So on Saturday, we'll be graduating 358 students, 206 undergrads, 116 masters, and 36 doctoral students. We held the hooding ceremony. We still hood everybody. So we hooded our undergraduates last week in our chapel. It's a bittersweet reality, but we're now big enough that we have to hold 2 of everything. So, but I personally hood every undergrad is called and their honors are called. So it is in keeping with our very personalized education there at St. Mary. And then on Friday, we'll have 3 pinning ceremonies. We pin our doctorate in physical therapy, and we have so many nurses that, again, we have to do 2 ceremonies for all of them. And so we do that in the chapel, and then they're also given a light that's lit from the Christ candle from Easter, because for us, this is ministry. We talk to the students again about what you do, you are the healing hands of Christ.
Oh, that's nice.
And we talk to the physical therapist about, it's so much about building that relationship. I said, besides you hurt people. If you've ever had physical therapy.
I'm going through it right now.
There you are. But we really stress to our students that it's not just getting the medicine right or getting the movement right, but it's being personally present. So we work hard on that, and then we celebrate that presence in the chapel. We'll have two graduations on Saturday, and in doing that, we don't have to limit our students. McGilly only holds 2,000 people, so if we divide it, then students can bring as many guests as they like. So things will be a little bit intense this week at St. Mary campus, and but as long as it doesn't rain on graduation, we're good.
That's right.
But we won't be down long. On May 17th, summer classes start. So most of those are online in Overland Park, so there won't be that many on campus until the physical therapists start again. Very proud of our nurses. They are, by and large, our biggest class. Our pass rate is 94%. The national pass rate is 82%.
Very good.
So we're very proud of the quality of nurses that we're sending out as well. I always say that I need to be comfortable if I was in the bed and they were taking care of me, and I have confidence that it's like, okay, yep, I will let you take care of me. I know you know what you're doing and we'll do it well. So
how many nurses did you say you have?
we'll have 50 undergrads and about 20 family nurse practitioners.
That's great.
And they are employed. People are coming to get them.
Yeah, I bet.
They're crying for us to produce more of them. So, but very, very pleased that the quality is as good as it is. That's important to us. Just for an economic standpoint, we have 900 students who are going through the campus here in Leavenworth. So that is part of our parking challenge. So I stay off Hughes for your own sake. It's a little bit cramped. But we only house 360 of those. So the rest of those are living in the Leavenworth, Lansing area.
That's amazing. That is, yeah.
So they are buying food, they are going to restaurants, and helping the economic engine of our town and our area. So there's the benefit besides them being here when they actually live. That means they're not eating in our cafeteria. They're shopping and eating around town, I hope. So doing very well there. We're very excited that we have a $1.1 million STEM grant to educate teachers. It's called the Best Scholar Grant. It's a federal grant, and our partner is going to be the Leavenworth School Districts. We'll be working with their pathway programs. So the idea is to grow our own for STEM teachers. So that is up and running, and we'll be working on building that pathway this summer. And it's primarily scholarships for the students. The $1.1 million, the vast majority of it is just to support students, with that idea that they become educated, then go back to their communities. So we are already very proud of the fact that the head of biology at Leavenworth is one of our own. Mr. Bodie's out there. Speaking of one of our own, as I look at the students and where they're going, 2 more of our graduates will be joining the Sheriff's Department and another one on the police force. So I can't remember exactly, but I do believe on the police force that's now around 10. So I'm very well behaved in Leavenworth.
Yeah. They know you. No.
They all know us. They all know us.
Yep.
But we're very proud to have them moving up the ranks in the police department and furthering those careers. But to have 2 more going to the Sheriff's Department as well. So excited about that. Just to give you a sense of some of the things that our graduates are doing besides, the nurses and the teachers. Our teachers are all employed already. In our chemistry biology department, several are going on for their PhD in chemistry at KU, at full rides there. We also have vets, physical therapists, chiropractor, people going on to med school. In the accounting majors, they're employed. 2 of them are moving into wealth management firms. And where they learned that skill was with our Spires trading team, where they learned to trade options. So they've come a long way on that. One of our athletic training interns is now going to the Chiefs. I don't know if he's going to get me tickets or not, but we'll work on that. You never know. We just had another one of our students accepted to early med school. They're accepted as sophomores. They spend junior year with us, and then senior year they go to the Kansas University of Medicine and Bioscience in Kansas City. It saves the student a year of med school, the cost, and a year in time as well. So very proud of what's happening with our biology, chemistry, nursing department. That science is very strong. And for those of you who come out to see our newest edition of the Human Anatomy Lab, that is definitely a marked improvement in our ability to teach human anatomy.
I want to see that.
There is nothing like seeing the human.
Right. Very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, it is such a phenomenal teaching tool. If any of you ever want to come visit, we'd be glad to give tours of it.
It's nice.
It is a phenomenal teaching tool, but we did have to give up our little swimming pool.
Yes.
Yes, the little swimming pool is gone. So we're very proud of where all of our graduates are going. The class for next year looks to be, again, a record class. The record class we had coming in, and we're looking for another record class. So the good news is we grow slowly because you don't want a huge bump. We're also instituting, because we found that some of our students, our first-generation low-income students, aren't always prepared for college with skills. Not that they are not bright, but they might not have mastered time management, note-taking, all of those things you need to succeed. We've also figured out that students are really not all technologically advanced. They just know how to text. But they really don't know how to do Microsoft Office. They don't know how to do Excel. So we also bring everybody back early to make sure that they know how to use our learning management system. Can they hook themselves up to the printer machine? Here is where you're going to find your coursework. So orientation will be a week long, and embedded in that, as we teach core values, we go out and say, okay, take a picture of respect. Okay, upload it. Okay, this is where it is. So that when they get in their classes, they are really ready to go. And they've mastered the instruments we use to teach. So you'll notice the students are going to be back earlier next year. And again, that hope is that sense that everybody will be then prepared for the classroom. Because more and more we find that what we need to do is to teach them to learn, because they're going to have to be lifelong learners to succeed in society as it is now. Because information is multiplying at such a phenomenal rate. But if you can learn to learn, you can do anything you want. So we are very excited that we've had a great year. We have survived COVID, thank God, and are ready for a little bit of break. And we spend our summers planning. The other doctoral classes and master's classes go on, but it gives the administration a chance to plan. So we are very excited, and I'd be glad to entertain any questions you might have of me.
Well, I'm just amazed at the number of students you have compared to what it was when I went to school there. Just amazing how you've grown.
It does continue to grow and diversely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was wondering, the students they're just from,
They're all over, but
All
the
over?
majority of our students are still Kansas students.
are they? Okay.
Mhm. And our sweet spot for Kansas is down the K-7 corridor.
Okay.
Okay.
That's where the majority of our Kansas students come from.
Well, and you have so many more offerings too for them.
Yes.
That's really.
Yes. Cybersecurity is growing, exercise science is taken off. So,
Are you having any trouble finding teachers?
no, we
Good
aren't.
Teachers.
We haven't. Sometimes if it's a specialty, a physical therapist has to be certified in physical therapy, so that's a DPT, that's one doctorate. And then you have to have, half of them have to have an academic doctorate,
Okay.
and either an EDD
Wow.
or PhD.
Mhm.
So if you've got 2 doctorates, you command quite a salary.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are very expensive. But for the most part, we do well. Yes, sir.
Sister, how fast is, I mean, we all deal with inflation, I'm sure the school does too.
Mm-hmm.
And so tuition must be increasing. How fast is tuition increasing over, say, the last 5 years or so?
Generally, our tuition usually goes up less than 5%. And as tuition goes up, so does our scholarships, to keep pace, because otherwise the students just can't afford it.
Sure.
So actually, our scholarships have gone up at a higher rate than tuition.
Good.
And again, we continue to raise money and raise funds to keep it affordable. That's very important to us,
Sure.
because that's part of the mission.
I've always, ever since I got here, I've always loved USM because, well, when I got here, it was St. Mary's College. But I've always loved it because it's very similar to the school I went to up in New York. I went to a small private Catholic college. It wasn't run by sisters, it was run by the Irish Christian Brothers.
Yeah, I know them too.
Yeah.
But it, you know, it was a small school just like USM, and I've always thought, wow, what a great little, it's a small school. And I like that you told us, you know, it grows, but it grows slowly. You can keep up with it all the time.
If you get one of those, it'd be like, I always imagine our city of Leavenworth doesn't seem to have boom and bust. You know, we're pretty stable.
Yes.
St. Mary's and it's pretty stable, but we grow slowly because if you have a boom, you're gonna have a bust. So we would prefer that, and that way you can incorporate the students into the community. If you get too many at once, you can't incorporate them into our culture.
Well, and you've been smart over the years about adding and removing things that were not needed at the time, you know, for education.
At one point, we
programs.
had a Master of Arts in Teaching that had 200 students in it online, and it's gone.
Wow.
So it's always being aware of what the market needs, what the employer needs.
Right.
When do I guess they're pre-med, they go until the end of their junior year, you said, and then they spend their 4th year down at the
Yeah, they're down
university.
at KCUMB, and they're dually enrolled.
And do they get a BS at all?
Yes, as soon as they finish their first year of med school, then they get their BS in applied biology, I think. Yes, so they'll get a BS after the first year of med school. So that last year, their senior year, they're dually enrolled. So we both recognize those courses. It's a great opportunity for the students.
And I didn't know that USM granted doctorates.
Yes.
In what fields?
We have a doctorate in a doctorate in education, that's our EDD, a doctorate in physical therapy, and a doctorate in occupational therapy. So we have 3 doctorates.
It's nice.
Well, I appreciate your attitude, sister, because I can tell you enjoy doing what you do. So that's
I do. And they wouldn't want me to say this, but I would never get so big that I lose contact with the students. That they don't know who I am and I don't know who they are. I can't always name them, but I do know that one's a football player, that one's local, that's a cheerleader.
yep.
And they also know I'm available to them.
That's
So,
And you've been the president up there for how many years?
for 20 years.
Has it been 20?
It's been 20 years this year. So,
No.
yes.
I just enjoy, and when I went and visited with you, but yeah, I just enjoy coming up there, just and I went up to the art show and got to speak to both of them. Actually, I bought some art from Jordan Hill
Oh, yeah.
students. Yeah, I did. But I don't know, it's just a great enthusiastic feeling and excitement up there. And no, and then I got to see Sister Rosemary
Yes.
that taught me in high school. But no, but yeah, I love it. So yeah, keep up the good work, sister. And all
Well,
the
thank you, and
staff
if there's
up there.
ever anything
Yeah,
or a
it's
service
just
project
great.
you want us to do, all of our students do service, is
Oh.
part of who we are. You need help with something, just let us know.
Thank you,
Thank
that's
you.
great.
It's
Yeah,
good
we
for
will.
them. So we appreciate projects, or if you have a research project you'd like us to take on, we'd be glad to do it.
Do you have a service fair in the fall like you
Yes.
used to do? Okay. That's
So
good
if
to
you
know.
want a table, we'll get you a table.
Yeah,
No, I appreciate that. Now you got my wheels turning
Yeah,
about the
they
research project.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. Well, thank you very much. I
Okay.
appreciate the opportunity to come.
thank you
very
for
much.
Thank
sharing.
All right.
you,
You,
thank
sister.
you, thank you. Okay, next up, semi-annual report from the Leavenworth Public Library. Mr. Matt Noyanen.
You nailed it.
I did.
She did.
Took me a long time, I had to practice.
Is that Dutch?
Finnish.
Really?
Yes. On my father's whole side of the family is hot off the boat from Finland about 1909. So,
You're Finnish, aren't you?
Yeah, my name is from Finland too. I can't tell you the history of it though.
yeah, they came over just in time. They were from the Karelian part of the country that the Russians swallowed up right before the Second World War. So they got out just before Stalin came knocking. So, well, what part of New York?
Oh,
Because I know there are Finns. There aren't many Finns. There are passels of them in New York. And
who said New York?
oh, you said you went to a little school there.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I was like, see, like.
Yeah, I went to a little school up in New Rochelle, New York, but I'm
Okay.
from the Bronx
Oh, okay.
originally. But yeah, I do know from somebody showing it to me, somebody in the family or distant relative in the family showed me that we were in the town of Oulu over in Finland, and the name hasn't changed. I was surprised. I had been told at one time that the name was spelled differently, but no.
No.
Still the same.
Spelled the same
O-U-L-U.
way. So,
Yeah, I know exactly where that is.
good, thank you.
Thank you. Well, very nice to meet you all. And I know that I sent letters to both our new commissioners, Commissioner Martin and Commissioner Hengula, after you were elected, to say congratulations and just lay out, kind of give you an introduction to the legal relationship between the state, the city, and the library. And I don't know, if COVID was still a thing out there. But if you ever want to come to the library and get a guided tour, I would be glad to host you and introduce you to the facility. I don't know if you're library users or if you have been to our place before, but I'd be proud to show you the building. The library and the city have had a relationship since 1899. It's a great working relationship. The city provides our funding. The mayor appoints our board members. The city's investment in our facility and maintenance of our facility and our site have been fantastic. I've been in 5 different states, 7 different library districts, and I've never worked with a governmental body who has so consistently supported both the ongoing financial needs of the library in terms of general fund and benefit support, but the physical plant. There have been some great improvements on the building just since I've been there, and some of which have really resulted in some great efficiencies. There were new HVAC system put in there that allowed us to create different zones of cooling. And I know that within the first 3 months, our electric bills in the summer were about 20% lower than they had been before. So again, I always like to thank the commissioners, the city leadership here for the ongoing, they communicate great. We work together on projects, and I know that another example of that is about to ensue with the replacement and a lot of big repairs in the parking lot. So I've been in other places where that was not the case, where the library was really last in line. But that has never been the situation here, and that's greatly appreciated by me, by the staff, by the board, and our thousands of users. And I don't like to bore everybody with a bunch of numbers. Actually, I don't mind boring people with numbers, but I'll spare you the pain. So I wanted to just provide some basic information, because I know in our library and in every library around America, and just about every public institution that has traditionally hosts a lot of people, we're all slowly rebounding from the effect of the pandemic. So for the first quarter of this year, just the basics, where our circulation is up 31% compared to the first quarter in '21. On a monthly basis, we're running at about 70 to 75% of what had been a typical month before COVID. But every month it's incrementally grown. Well, we're not completely back to the kind of business that we used to generate before, but we are certainly getting there. The next report, every library in America files a report with their state library on an annual basis. Ours is in Topeka. They use that information. They send it off to Washington. The Department of Education then sends money, federal grant money, back to each state based on use of the libraries in their state. So this is our annual report, a graphic representation of it, of the report that was sent to the state library. So you have a whole year's worth of data on one sheet. And again, 2021 neither was 2020, neither of those were typical years. But I still think the kind of business the library is doing is still extremely healthy. And on the back of that, and my assistant director will congratulate me for double-siding it because it spares paper. I just wanted to also give you an idea of what the other libraries in the area are doing. There are several public libraries that we collaborate with that are in our area. So this will just tell you that for the first quarter, where we stand based on, again, the business that the other local public libraries are doing. Underneath that are some monthly data, so you can see from just overall circulation, 9,000 to 10,000 to 11.5. So again, it's creeping up again, which is great. The summer reading events, I put this in the bottom of this page because we didn't have this document ready. So I'll just skip that one. But that's a nice little summary of the main events that we're going to be doing all summer. The summer reading program is the signature event that most libraries do for kids. It usually generates thousands and thousands and thousands of books going out. Our highest circulation month is almost always July. And it's because we have, 1,000 kids in the library, a few hundred every week, and they're all borrowing things left and right. Part of the philosophy behind summer reading is to help education deal with what they call the summer slide. Kids are out of school, they don't read, they're not involved in education, of course, they don't have daily classroom work, so the reading and the literacy that the library provides over that gap between school years, between the end of one year and the beginning of the next, can really help kids keep their skills sharp. We definitely involve parents. Our primary role for the last 4 years has been as a preschooler's door to learning. So many of our programs, a lot of our budgeting, our website, the support we've provided has been aimed at getting little kids, real little, preschoolers, 6 months old, learn to, mom and dad work with them, bring literacy into their lives on a daily basis. We have a Books for Babies program. It was great, especially when Cushy was doing babies. We still have another partner in the area, so it's not the actual hospital where the babies are being born, but it's a couple of people who do OBGYN and do delivery. So each prospective parent gets a little packet with a board book, a onesie that says Born to Read, and just some guides. Mom and dad, don't forget, it's never too young to start reading. These are some tips. These are some things you should do. Our website has carefully selected resources that are there for parents of young children, not the kind that say, hey, sign up for a membership because we really just want to bombard you with a bunch of junk email. They're high-quality sites that have been vetted by education and library professionals. So that plan was, we've been doing strategic planning about every 3 years. And we had our first meeting to renew our strategic plan in January of 2020. And in March of 2020, we all know what happened, so that whole process got derailed. At the end of 2021, as everything was more or less back to normal, the library board kicked off another planning effort, and this time we hired some consultants called S-Brand from Colorado, because what we had noticed, what we had seen other libraries talking about, what we have seen just in our own communities, and people's expectations of so many things have changed. How can we get people back in the cycle of coming to the library? How can we offer services in a way that meets the changing expectations. I was driving back home from somewhere down in the Legends, and I saw a McDonald's truck delivering cheeseburgers. And I thought, people are getting used to things being brought to them. So there may be ways that we can do this. So we hired S-Brand. We've been engaged with them since, well, about April. And in mid-May to mid-June, they're going to do two things. The primary part of their public engagement will be an online survey for everybody to take. There's one for the general public, there's one for youth. We're gonna try to get QR codes and that information out. Hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have that in a way that we can start just pushing it out in the community, through the newspapers, through the organizations, at the library, to get people to give us their input. It's about a 15 to 20 question survey. We want to hear from the community. What services do you like? What opportunities do you see? What's coming down the pike that you would like to see us address? Also, part of it is our interviews with 20 key stakeholders. And they've asked us to identify people that they will call and spend about an hour to an hour and a half on the phone asking a different set of questions that are more in-depth, and provide them more opportunity to delve into more information if one of the people they're speaking with has a good suggestion or just gets into conversation. And I know that I would really like a member of the city commission to be part of that process, because we want to hear a lot from non-library users. We kind of know what we're doing, but we would like to know what kind of help can we provide people who have either kind of left using the library because of COVID, maybe never did use the library. Why not? What are we doing? What can we do better to help? So I don't know if you would like to nominate a member of your own commission here. I didn't want to handpick anybody, but if anybody would like, I would love to have.
Besides me being on the board, right?
There you go.
Nominate Cameron.
You're in the hot seat, so.
We ought to give it to Jermaine.
Because he's not here.
Show up next time.
There you go.
That's right.
Whoever isn't here, you volunteered. So I would definitely want to get that, a phone number and an email address for a member of the commission, because I have to have a final list to the consultants tomorrow. So I don't know if anybody wants to stick your hand up, or just, if it will be our mayor.
No, I mean, I'm already on the board. Somebody else should. Ed?
It's pretty painless, like I said.
I've actually got just some questions for you. I was looking at some of your stats.
Oh, certainly.
If you don't mind.
Okay.
So I'm just looking at some of the figures, and your building traffic was up substantially, it
Yes.
looked like, in so far, in 2022. Can you speak to, I was just looking back here, you got the meeting room use. Your, the adult program attendance was down from, it's like 3,400 down to 307, for this quarter. I'm sure there's a story to that. Can you speak to that, or, because it looks like you've got more programs, but, the participation is down. So I was just kind of curious. I was like, that's interesting. But
We had a program that was coordinated, our program and marketing employee, librarian, Cindy McGuire, coordinated with all the other directors of some of the libraries that are on this list to do an online program called We've Been There Before, which was about the epidemic of 1919. That was done in, I believe, March of last year. Over 2,000 people attended that online. So that completely skewed, I mean,
outlier,
does an enormous program. C-SPAN
Okay.
showed it. It was in conjunction, also helped, the World War I Museum was involved, of course, because that whole era is their wheelhouse. And they emailed that out, they social media the daylights out of that. There were thousands of people who showed up on that program. And I knew that for following years, it's gonna look really strange, but that program was a huge,
That makes sense,
huge
though.
draw, right?
Yeah.
And also in 2021, our meeting rooms, we had the mask requirement in place, and meeting rooms were, and a lot of people didn't feel comfortable coming to any public things like that. We don't want to go into a public space. If you've been to our meeting room, our Yon meeting room is roughly about the size of this room. We had people who just, no, we're not comfortable going into a closed room with a bunch of people we don't know. So again, the mask requirement has been lifted. If you look at the number of folks that use the library, and I believe I gave everybody a copy of our, did I not bring it? Maybe I didn't, for our April statistics. But again, the number of people that are coming into the library now and using that room has really increased. It is a unique resource. There aren't many places in the area that are free, that are open to anybody that wants to use it, as long as they abide by, of course, some certain rules that you can't have food unless you clean it up. You can't have fires and things like that. When I was a librarian in Wyoming, some Shoshone kids from the local high school in Fort Washakie did this fantastic program about their cultural history. And what they do at their school every day, they burn sage, and as a purification. And they wanted to do that in a library. I felt terrible, but I couldn't let them. I didn't ever want them to feel like, well, there's something wrong with this ceremony. It's just public building, fire, smoke, water now blasting out of the ceiling is probably not a good idea. But anyway, our meeting rooms, the use of those meeting rooms, and of course our summer reading program, with one exception, is always at the library. We have a program called Exotics Are Us that draws so many people. We decided to hold it at the Heritage Center and to do it twice, because we have way too many people to try to cram in the room at one time. We're also concerned about a program that large if, during the summer, our parts of our parking lot may be inaccessible. So, there'll be maybe an obstacle for people to park. So coming down here and bringing that, what we expect to be a very successful and very well-attended program off-site, I think will work better for parking, 2 sessions. The room there is larger. So that's why that one number looks really bad.
Well, I'm sure there's something to that, and you explained it, so, yeah.
We hit 60 homers one year and 25 the next. 25 is respectable, but that program was an enormous success. This is a program for our summer reading program, and this is one of the last pieces that I would hope to get a packet to you in advance, but we were still nailing down some of these events. So there's a June on one side and July on the other. It shows each of our main programs, our special programs are going to be on Wednesdays, but we'll be doing story hours on Tuesdays, gaming on Thursdays, and individual team programs. A lot of our programs are really for a younger audience, so we've created a couple of special programs for the elder siblings who don't feel like they want to do something with their younger brothers or sisters. So these are the events that we have scheduled for June and July. Again, that will be our summer reading program.
How many kids do you normally have in your summer reading program?
We usually have about 600 to 700 who sign up. We have a kind of a floating average, I'd say, depending on the nature of the program, anywhere from 100 to 200 come to individual programs. They literally read thousands of books every summer.
And these are all reading programs?
They're more entertaining programs. Part of what we wanted to focus on this year was events that'll get kids to the library.
I got you.
Give them
Okay.
something exciting and something that'll really attract them, so that once they get back in the library, a lot of them have library cards anyway. They borrow a ton of books, but just get the mom and dad back in the habit of coming to the building.
Mm-hmm.
Remember what we're up to here, and then the kids can bug mom and dad to take them to the library because they remember how much fun they had.
This makes me smile, this one, and, I don't have any kids, so I don't know who's Mr. Stinky Feet.
Mr. Stinky
Oh,
Feet.
very popular.
Is he?
Yes, I wish I could remember his real name. I wanted his.
What does, I guess you dance with him?
He plays guitar. He sings.
Jim Cosgrove,
Tim Cobb, thank you very much. Yeah, he did his program.
dance party.
The last summer reading program we did was in public parks. We were down at a couple of the parks, and he taught kids how to do what was that dance they called? Oh, it's some crazy dance. It's the one where their arms go flippy floppy everywhere.
Hokey pokey.
No, the one.
Macarena.
No, not
Oh,
that
no,
one.
I know what
The-
you're
the-
talking
the
about,
arm-
the-
The arms go back and behind. anyway.
Yeah,
So
I know what
he's,
you're- I know what
it's
you're
very
talking about.
lively, it's a very,
Is that
Right?
it? Is it
Yeah.
floss?
okay,
Yeah.
My
thank you.
2-year-old does it, so.
That's the one.
I knew what you're talking about.
So part of his program is teaching these kids how to do that. And I think he taught them the twists so mom and dad could get out there.
Right.
So it really is a way to engaging people in coming to the building and having a good time. That is, and while they're there, you hit them with books. Not that most of the parents have a problem with that. We have families, we have people in, kids in, of course, all the time. And that was one thing that I personally missed for a while, was just not having kids' voices, not hearing their laughter, not seeing how excited they were to be in the library. And it's really, really great to see that again. So,
One more question. I was just looking at the numbers again. I'm kind of a numbers guy.
Sure.
Your laptop usage was up. It was like 0 in the first quarter of last year, but 46 for Q1 of this year. Was there anything?
just without a lot of people in the building, the demand for that, and those are, people can use it for as long as they want. So we have different stations worked, so you has like a bicycle lock on it, so the laptop stays there. And for a long time, people just weren't using them. So now that more people are coming in that want to use that, it's good for people, especially if they're doing any kind of job hunting that requires a great deal of time. They can check that out all day if they want to.
That's cool.
And also, we also realized one of the things we budgeted for this year were tech upgrades, because our tech plan says try to do our best to replace any computer that's 5 years old or more. And those laptops have really hit the wall. So those are some of the items that we're steadily replacing. We have an order in to replace. We started with public workstations. All of our internet terminals got new hard drives. Those are all very fast and very up to date. We have a 1 gig internet connection, which is very fast. So we always try to work with getting equipment that the public is going to use first and our workstations second. So those laptops are definitely on the list of things to dispose of and replace, because they are just out of date. They kind of creep and crawl.
It happens.
It does.
Technology goes fast.
Faster than you want it to
Yeah.
sometimes.
It does.
What do you do with the old ones?
We recycle them. Some of the computer equipment, the larger pieces like a server and switches that we've replaced, we offer to other libraries who have taken them. Most of these are so old, nobody really wants them, so we take them down to the electronic disposal at the city. And I've heard that, I think, is it Target and a few other, maybe Amazon, they're so desperate for chips. They're taking computer memory chips from any kind of any old device that you have. Actually haven't looked into that as a possibility. I don't know
I
how
didn't know
much.
if you gave any to after-school programs or anything around here.
By the time we're done with them, it would be
they're
cursing them with them. It really
okay.
wouldn't be something that I think that they would find very useful.
Okay,
So some of our computers are 10, 12 years old.
wow,
The
yeah.
ones on our work desk, and all these things are, the catalogs, for example, all they are internet connections to an online catalog. They don't have to be the biggest, fastest. They don't need Office Suite and stuff like that. But once you get 10, a couple of them are 12 years old, they do start to get a little,
Slow and,
a little hinky.
Yeah.
Things just start failing. Fans fail.
yeah.
So we've always had something going on at the library. There were plenty of events. We were so frustrated for 2 years, it felt like we were just waiting. That events outside were running us, and now with the planning process going, we finally kind of feel like we're taking charge again of the future of the library. We really, really want to hear from as many people. We're trying to get 2,000 to 3,000 people, hopefully, to respond to the online survey. But we would certainly like a member of the commission to be part of that team of people who will be interviewed. It will be on the phone. It'll be scheduled at your convenience. It'll be sometime between mid-May and mid-June. It's an hour to an hour and a half. So, okay, great.
Thank you.
Don't sound so relieved.
When you said even a non-user library, I use the library, but very sparingly.
Okay.
Almost everything I want, I can get it off my own computer,
Right.
you know, and I will read off of my phone or my computer, so I don't really get the hardcover book.
We have access to about 5 different e-content services. We have Overdrive, we have Hoopla, we have Canopy. We have just set up trials for a music service, so if you like to read ebooks, you can get free ebooks from
Yeah,
about
man.
half a dozen places from us.
I'm not a big book reader at all.
Okay. Audiobooks, you listen to them?
No, no, oh, no, no.
Okay.
I know a friend of mine listens to audiobooks. She's constantly going from here down to Oklahoma, or here over to St. Louis, or over to New York, and she listens to, recorded books all the time. Mm-hmm. And I know that if I did that, I'd be driving along,
Yeah.
so I don't even do that.
Okay. But again, we have access to different kind of databases and all sorts of information that the state library provides. So that's kind of not kind of, it's the evolution of libraries since I joined the profession. It's at least half a dozen technological advances were supposed to put us out of business. They haven't yet. We partner with them. We bring them in. We offer them. We have this now. They have it now. The difference is, of course, that it's free.
Yeah,
We don't
I've
charge.
had the use of the state library through
Perfect.
the Leavenworth Library
Yeah.
many years ago.
Yeah. We still issue state library cards to people that access that from home. The tricky part is the way it's set up in Kansas, especially here, we're right on the border. So these databases are only supposed to be for Kansas residents. And if you log in from here in Leavenworth, your internet traffic might be coming from a server in Platte City, which makes it seem like you're not from Kansas. So they've overcome this problem by creating a separate state library card. We issue probably 100 to 200 of those every year. So.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Okay. Well, thank you all very much.
you very
And
much.
I will, I was gonna say, if you have your contact info, that would be great.
All right, there you go.
I have no idea what you said.
See, you might learn something.
Fellow
Tell me something. Let me listen to this. Roscahenda.
That one I'm not familiar with.
Good, from what I understand.
Okay, yeah.
I was thinking,
Should I be insulted?
no, not at all.
Well, very good. Thank you all very much.
Okay,
you.
thank you. Okay, next up, semi-annual report from Convention and Visitors Bureau. Ms. Christy Lee.
Hello. Good evening, Mayor.
Hello.
Commissioners,
Hello.
nice to see you all. Yes.
How you do?
Oh, I don't see that online.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Good evening. So, semi-annual report here, just a quick update for you on what kind of we've been doing and some of the things that are happening in the industry and that. So, we'll start with the National Travel Industry Report and that just overview. This, obviously, just trying to get a indication of what this summer is gonna look like and that, and again, there's still some things out there that are gonna be hampering the tourism industry. Just kind of recovering from the last 2 years, and now we're kind of facing a couple more things that might be coming along here that are going to hamper it a little bit more even. So the inflation, gas prices, conflict in Ukraine and that. I just was at the Heartland Byways Conference, which we are hosting this week here in Leavenworth, and thank you to the mayor for doing the welcome to him today, so that was really nice. One of the slides that they were showing is like almost 70% of the people nationally are thinking of reducing their trips this year and that, so, and the other 30% were canceling, so some big numbers there in that. I think that we'll see a lot more local traffic again. People will be doing, not just domestic, but closer to home, like short weekend trips again and that, just to try and beat that gas prices and some of the inflation a little bit, but still want to get away and do a little something. So hopefully we'll see some day trips in that, this summer and that, so that's what I'm gonna kind of concentrate on. National Travel and Tourism Week is this week, so we are celebrating that. The CDB is actually running, a photo contest in that, so hopefully we'll get some people to submit some really cool destination pictures that we might be able to use in the future publications and some of our ads and that, so, been out of the office, so I don't know if anybody has submitted anything or yet, but we're doing like $100 Main Street bucks to the winning photo. So hopefully that will encourage some people to submit some really cool photos for us. So that's kind of our National Travel and Tourism Week push. So unemployment, again, in the tourism industry is still kind of hard hit, and along with everybody else. I mean, I was talking to one of our hoteliers recently in that were saying that their housekeeping is down to only 4 staff, 4 people. So, I mean, it's tough out there. Every industry is struggling with that, and tourism, again, with the hospitality industry is just suffering along with everybody else. So, when's the end for that? Nobody knows, I don't think, so. Kansas Tourism, submitted their, year-end report, so a lot of good information, that's coming out of Kansas and that. They're really, their, To the Stars campaign has been really doing well. The mayor's seen the video that, Bridget Job presented today. She's the director of tourism.
Yeah,
and
that
is
was
in for
great.
it's a great video. Really shows Kansas well in that. So that was really cool. So instead of me reading through all of that, I'll let you kind of all read through that. But they did redesign their website last year and that, so that's really cool. They're trying to increase their attraction development grant. I mean, there's $200,000 in there now, but Bridget has been saying for the last couple of years too, if you want something, go ahead and submit it, because they can't ask for more money from the legislature unless they have more applications. So they're hoping that in the future that they can increase that grant amount. Hoping to increase it back to $1 million. Back in the day, I guess it had $1 million in it, so not sure what they'll get that increased to, but they're working on it and that. So, just a lot of good things happening through the states. They've won some really great awards with their, the To the Stars campaign, the ESTO award for that. So, Kansas Tourism is really kind of knocking it out of the park with their new To the Stars campaign. So, some of their media, their summer media event this summer is going to be held in Abilene. In the past, it was in Tanganyika Park down in Wichita and that, where all the communities got together and they would invite travel writers in, media, magazines in, and you all kind of got to present to them. This year, they're going to have a little bit different format, and they're going to just invite the regions of Kansas. So we'll be participating from the Northeast Kansas region and still be able to present some of our information to the media that show up for that event. So that's going to be on August 3rd. So looking forward to that. And then there's a lot of numbers there that I wanted to present to everyone and kind of show you what Kansas spending has been over the years, and that obviously 2020 is down. Hopefully that'll start increasing, but again, there's several things, like we just kind of went over that might affect that going forward. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. But leisure travel accounts for 67% of all visitor spending, and business travel accounts for 33%. So hopefully, going forward, like I said, we'll still have a lot of good travel this summer, but it's all going to be, generated probably within the region. So, some of the Leavenworth statistics. Visitors, you'll notice that some of our visitors went down. However, like the 2017, 18, and 19 numbers were based off of a formula that I was using as far as visitors to the C.W. Parker Carousel Museum, and then we were backtracking at 12% go to museums when they visit a community and that. So the 2020 and the 2021 numbers were based off of the new program that we just bought, Datify, and so are able to pinpoint it a little bit better. So from 50 miles out, using that program, we came up with 133,020, and then in 2021, 107,000 visitors. So going forward, we'll keep using that for a few more years and that, and see if we can just get a track record as far as our numbers go in that, or get a handle on that. So right below that, you'll see like 40% of the people are spending 1 day here, 11% are spending 2 days, 9, 3 days, so you can kind of see the 5% and over is probably a lot of our construction, commerce, and the Fort commerce and stuff like that are spending over the 4 days. Some of the top cities visiting Leavenworth, according to this new program, are Dallas, Austin, Wichita, El Paso, Manhattan, St. Louis. Anyway, so a lot of those, again, are probably Fort related, especially the Dallas, Austin, and then the Manhattan one. So we are really tied into the Fort. I mean, it really does bring the business to our city. So demographics off to the side there, broken down by age, salary, nationality, and education. So it's just, this program it has a wealth of information.
I was gonna say, I don't know how you
Yeah,
get that
it just
information
has-
for everybody, but.
Nice.
Amazing amount of information. So if anybody's interested in doing kind of a deep dive on that, let me know. And we can kind of throw in some numbers and throw in some dates and see what we come up with. So it's just kind of fun to see what we can come up with and what we have to go by. So 2021 year-end review, marketing, I've kind of indicated we had about 1.8 million in print distribution. As you can see, like from it really adds up fast. It's kind of amazing. Like the state guide, because we put an ad in there, I mean, they print 350,000. So, I mean, if you put an ad in several, books throughout the year and that, I mean, the distribution as far as all that, it adds up pretty quickly. And that, and even our digital ads with our billboards and that, impression-wise, 12.4 million. Our website views, 202,000. And that, again, hopefully will go up a little bit now that we've got, in the bottom of the front page on the City of Leavenworth site, we have a new ad on there versus, it says basically our events calendar. And that was before, it was just geared kind of towards Convention and Visitors Bureau. So hopefully people are hitting on that a little bit more to go to the events calendar.
Miss
So
Lee, I don't
Yes,
want
sir.
to derail
Yes.
what we're talking about. Would there be a way, or maybe a way to make a note going forward where you can capture your marketing efforts with the visitors coming to Leavenworth to kind of have a kind of a metric to say, hey, when you're doing something else, you're doing maybe some extra, whatever it is, other method, other touch point. Maybe we could use that to somehow kind of measure some of the efforts and what seems to be working. What is it maybe you tweaked or whatever. That's not always going to be accurate, but maybe something. I didn't know, maybe there's something in place like that already, but just something like, well, you've got all these efforts going on. It'd be nice to know, if you can maybe figure out a trend. Yeah, what's that?
sure,
affecting.
I can look
So-
into that and see if we can start capturing some of that and report on that as well.
Cool.
That would be like tracking,
Yeah.
if somebody saw something that caused them to be here, to be coming here.
They do what's
it could
called
be-
the arrival list. The State Office of Tourism uses that programming. It's expensive and that, but they can capture some of that, so I can look in to see how much that would cost as far as,
Well, I would
maybe
be
investing in
interested in
something
having a
like that.
conversation with the state if they want us, everybody to come to Kansas. Well, let's talk about
Yeah.
that then, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
They do co-op some of that. That's basically the Datify program that I just bought last year. They co-op that with 50%, up to 50%. So sometimes, depending on the program, they can co-op
because I
some of that
was gonna
stuff.
say, well, if the state's penalizing the cities for trying to get better at bringing people in, well, that kind of is messed up. So, anyway, that's a different conversation,
Yeah.
but.
I know.
So, individual requests filled as far as our visitor guidebook was 236 in 2021, 78,000 spent in direct marketing dollars, and then 3.6 visitor guidebooks distributed. We've already distributed over 6,000 this year. So, again, I think just we'll be playing catch up for a couple of years as far as these last 2 years that were really down. So hopefully we'll start rebounding here a little bit and be able to report some better numbers or whatever. So
Excuse me.
yes, sir.
When did the 2022 guidebook come out, the visitor's guidebook?
It came out in January. And we've been distributing it since, it came out late January, so we've been
Okay.
distributing it from January until just last week, we distributed some more, so.
I just picked one up yesterday.
Oh, really? Okay, late January.
Okay, thank you.
So, you bet. Our website, again, 85,000 unique views, and then 202,000 total page views. Top referral sites, Travel KS, which is the state visitor guidebook, and then, of course, the city website, and then Visit KC. So, and when I printed, or when I put this on mine, the R didn't fall off of there, so I apologize for that R falling off of that, but that's RevPAR, revenue per available room. But occupancy there, you can see, 20, over the years, our supply and demand over the years, our average daily rate over the years, our revenue over the years, and that. The only anomaly that I can kind of report from this is, just that 4% of room nights sold in 2021 were transient guest tax exempt. If, you kind of remember from previous years, it's always been averaging around 30. So, 4% is pretty good. I mean, that's good for us all the way around. I don't know if, the next hotel managers meeting, I'll bring that up and see if they have any insight into that. The only thing I can think of at this point is that there's less direct billing to the federal government when they are checking in and that, so they're using purchase cards maybe more that don't fall under that category. So that would be
I'd like
my-
to potentially come to that meeting if you're gonna have one again and just kind of,
Out to the hotel managers? Okay,
I can get with you on that later,
okay,
but
yeah.
I love the correlation though. I mean, you talk about the transient guest tax and just the full circle. I know I never understood it until I was on the commission, how it, worked, but just get more people in, you get more funds available to promote your
Correct.
city more, to get more people in, to do it, to spend more, to grow revenue base,
Right.
it just helps out a lot, so.
Yep, cyclic or in nature that, the more it's marketing, it's bringing people to town. The more people you bring to town, the more that grows. So,
And again,
yes.
that's thanks to Paul and the team for
Yes.
keeping all these hotels up, but that's good.
Yeah, yep. So, some local, updates, we are hiring, if Rosalie Robinson, worked here for about 4 years, she was, basically her position was, working with tour groups and that, and so we've added a community relations, portion to that position and that, and we are actually interviewing a couple people this Friday, so hopefully, one of them will be good, and we will get that position, hired. More to come on that. I'll hopefully have updates for you next time. Local promotions and committees, again, I'm on several local committees and promotions and continue to attend those, working hand in hand with Main Street and that during their promotions and trying to bring more people to town whenever we can. So Fred Harvey Museum, if you're not aware, that museum is actually going to have a soft opening, I believe, on is it this Saturday? I think May 7th is, they're going to have a soft opening. So, I believe it goes from 10 until 4, something like that. So if you get a chance, stop by the Fred Harvey Museum.
Is that,
For too
is that the Harvey House?
Yes,
Really?
yep,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm
When is
excited
it-
about
when is
that.
Saturday?
This Saturday, I believe. I can send you the times or that, but
Yeah.
it's,
Send it to us.
Yeah, send it
Okay.
to us.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Because I haven't
Yeah.
heard they were gonna do that this weekend.
Wow, that's
excited.
awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And, trade shows, conferences, that, attended for 2021 and then 2022, the lineup. So again, trying to, obviously that was down over the last couple of years and that's so going gangbusters in 2022. We're going to be attending quite a few more this year, so, kind of exciting. Just this morning, gave a, site visit to 2 different military groups that will be bringing groups here, one 75 plus and the other one's over 200. So I'm excited about that, 4 buses. September 29th will be the one group of about 75, so we'll set up a tour for that, and then the other one's next April, which will be about 4 buses. So They are actually holding their conference in Topeka. So Visit Topeka brought them over today and did a site visit. So we are going to be like a hub and spoke. They're going to come out here and do a day trip, and then they'll go back to Topeka and finish out their conference. So that was pretty cool. So that's kind of a quick update for you on what we've been doing in that. So any questions or that I can follow up on, and I'll try and get on these and get that information back out to you in that, so we can.
I was curious, you were talking about the top influencers, travel influencers that were out there that Kansas tapped into the state. Was Leavenworth looked into by any of those, or were they highlighted on like a national level?
Top influencers.
Yeah, I was just reading back here, one of your first couple of pages, you just said that, yeah, on the Kansas tourism piece, there were some TV production crews, I guess, and top travel influencers that were engaged by Kansas Department of Tourism. So I was just curious. I didn't know if there was a way we could get highlighted more on a national level.
We work with them every opportunity that we can. A lot of times it's pay to play with several of their different things, but every time or that we can work with them, I surely do try to do that. And this conference is a good example. 10 years ago, it was held in Manhattan, and just through the relationships, working with Bridget and the state, they brought it to Leavenworth. And so I think that that's really amazing, because they had the whole state to choose from. So there's 12 byways in Kansas and that, but they chose to bring it to Leavenworth. So I thought that that was really a good,
Yeah.
really good pat on the back to have them bring it to Leavenworth. So we work really close with them.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, Nancy, they were just did, when was that, last year?
Last year.
Channel 4?
Channel 4 did.
Yes, Channel 4, Fox
Was
4
here.
was
That
here.
was
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember seeing something on that, yeah.
Tourism,
So,
All
yeah.
morning we
Yeah.
were
To
on
get
the
Channel
TV
41 to
already.
come up and do a, what do they call it, one-tank trip?
We're working on, I think, yeah, we're working on all of those.
So you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
organize something for them. But I do have a question. I don't know who they fell under, who ran them and organized them. And perhaps there used to be an organization, and Nancy, you may remember them, the Leavenworth Ambassadors.
That's through the chamber.
That's Chamber
Is
of
that
Commerce.
chamber?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce. Actually, Rosalie Robinson, when she worked here for us, was a chamber ambassador. And that, so we do participate in that.
Thank you.
Can you-
Good report.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
nice report.
Just one more question real quick, and I think maybe Wendy does this, Mr. Kramer, but I'm not sure. The demographics that you highlighted, how are we communicating that information to all of our local business owners here in town? I was just kind of curious. I mean, we have some of the data, and some of this is really good. I don't know how much of it they see or that we could get in their hands, because they could adjust some of their marketing efforts accordingly.
Sure.
I was just
Well, I
curious.
think that's going to be part of the new position that we're hiring. It's a community relations position too, so I hope that that person will be out in the community a little bit more, visiting with the downtown businesses and that, and asking them, how can we help you, that kind of thing. Will these demographics help you? You know, and start sharing some of that information maybe a little bit more from, because like right now, we are using Main Street and the Chamber as our intermediaries to touch base with our local businesses, which has worked and that, but I think having a person that specifically works on that will help.
Yeah,
And that, so we'll
definitely.
certainly, any information that we can share with businesses to help them with their marketing, we will.
Cool.
So-
It was a job position description that we changed based on basically commission feedback, that we need to do a better job directly contacting businesses. So that used to just be tour relations, but we've added that community relations aspect to it, so we can inform them of when tours are coming and, you know, what the tours want to see and develop those relationships.
See, that's perfect. Yeah,
Well, 'cause
yeah, getting
So
that.
they're ready for it, the
there.
businesses, so they're not like, we're these.
Part of
200
the
people
job
come
now
from.
for that position.
Yeah.
And we did sort of freeze that for the last couple of years because we didn't have any tours
No,
coming in.
yeah.
But again, they have interviews this week.
Yep, yep, we have 10 tours scheduled already for this year,
Oh,
so
that's
it's,
awesome.
yeah, it's coming back. So-
If we could, once that position is hired in and everything, I mean, I would love to figure out kind of a plan to, like, hey, some goals and objectives for your, department, and with the marketing efforts and communication and several different aspects that we could, and measure that. Let's say, hey, get some feedback, the voice of the customer, in this case, our resident, business owners, and see what that can evolve into, so.
Sure.
Thank you.
Anything
Presentation.
else?
Great.
Okay, no, great presentation.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank
You
you
too.
too. Okay, anything to follow up with, Mr. Kramer? Do you have anything?
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Hengler?
Can you imagine it? I'm speechless.
Okay, Commissioner Bowder?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
I'm just interested on initial feedback on Bird Scooters first week out and
Oh.
everything, and.
Well, I know there wasn't any,
So we didn't have any police calls. We had a
Yeah.
couple calls for information. I think Penny's fielded and our PIO is fielded, Melissa, and then we did put together the website with all the information.
Yeah.
We've had a couple pictures. They have been going around. We've been driving around in the mornings. They have been, their local person has been putting them
Setting
nicely
it back
on
up.
corners, and so they may end up, the rider may discard one, but they are certainly getting that and then putting it back into a proper place real quick. I rode one today for the first time, and so it was.
How was your experience?
It's a little bit different, as the city manager, you don't want to be on the sidewalk, so I was in traffic, and so it's, you gotta really think about where you're going
Yeah.
and how the best way to get there, so
Yeah.
yeah, it was good.
That seems to be one of the things is the, getting them off the sidewalks.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be on the sidewalks. And folks are driving, and, when I started hearing people tell me about that, I remembered when I was in Cincinnati, not too long ago. And they were running them up and down the sidewalks.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do need to get the word out to them. No, not on the sidewalks. You want to do this, you have to do it on the streets. I did get, I got some feedback last night, loud and clear. I don't like those things, get rid of them. Oh yeah, this lady was very, I don't know if you saw her, but this lady was very adamant that we do not need those things here in.
Why did she say?
Why though?
Well, one of the reasons was because she and her husband were driving, they came to a stop, they started to go, and some young man came flying across, no regard to the fact that there was a stop sign there, that kind of thing. It's really more of a matter of traffic enforcement, which
Well,
is
that could be a
not gonna be
bicycle
something to do.
too. So a
Yeah.
bicycle could do
Yeah,
that.
somebody could do that with a bike, easily, but of course, that was the easy
That's it, it's
blame.
new.
Yeah, I had a gentleman that is responsible for a crew that drives, operates vehicles and stuff like that, and he said, I'm not complaining, I just had to tell him, you gotta watch it, cause we can't see him coming around the corners and stuff like that. And I had another lady say something to me, and I had a few. I told one person, I said, look, if you don't like it, you gotta tell me, but right now, it's half and half of those that like and those that don't, so just have to know, gotta hear from people. But-
Right, I have people that are, I explained to them, and, I had one gentleman that they were putting him in front of his business, and he has a lot of elderly people coming in, so I gave him the phone number for him to directly call, so maybe when they place them again, they could place them someplace else. But he wasn't mad about it, just concerned. But everyone that I talked to, all the different ages, are willing just to give it a chance and see where it goes, But that's it, we just need feedback. So
Yeah.
I had one located off of, was over on 10th. I don't know how far, do you know what the range is?
There's no geofencing in
There
the city
isn't
right
any
now.
geofencing.
it's
Oh, I was
just they
thinking
can't
we
be
were gonna do
what,
that.
on the state highways.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so state law prohibits their use on highways. So here that would be Forest Streets, Spruce, and Metropolitan.
Yeah.
And there's actually a pop-up on the app before they can use the bike that tells them that.
Now, there is-
So they can't use it on 4th Street, but they could use it on 10th?
So the streets aren't geo-fenced, but there's a pop-up notifying them that it's illegal to use it on the highways.
Yeah, 4th Street's a state highway.
Yeah.
Highway,
Highway
and
7.
Spruce and Metropolitan.
Yeah.
So they could use it on 10th then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
They can.
Yeah, 10th and 20th, neither one of them were state highway.
No, I'm just thinking though, well, I guess we'll see what the feedback is.
But I think it'll go
So-
slow if you're going up the hill from Spruce south.
Right.
Okay. Did you, anyone else have anything?
Oh, anything else? Thank you.
No, is the Touch a Truck tomorrow? I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, from 10 to 11:30 down at the community center.
Right in
Yeah,
the parking
right
lot
front.
In
on
the
the
parking
south
lot,
side.
yep. And then just a shout out, a big ol' thank you to all the teachers out there. It's a Teacher Appreciation Week, so thank you so much for everything you do for our children. So, and that's all I have. Have a great evening.